Canadian Professional Football. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, serving you in Canada and around the world. And by Labatt Breweries of Canada Limited, brewers of Labatt's Blue and 50 Ale. Across Canada, beer at its best.
There has been a great deal of rain fall on these Toronto fans in the past 24 hours. It has just now stopped raining, and there's every indication we'll get more of the wet stuff as the afternoon moves on. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom McKee. The field is not in the best condition, even though they have had a vinyl covering on the field for the past 3 days. The situation was that as they rolled off that vinyl covering, the water, instead of spilling out to the sidelines, spilled back onto the field, and rather than having those days with which to distribute itself evenly and seep into the turf, it instead is lying in puddles in some areas and has made the footing very, very difficult. Standing by in our broadcast booth is Don Chevrier, and he'll check in with Russ Jackson, and I'll be back with an interview in just a moment.
Well, as you know, two-platoon football went out many, many years ago, except that somebody forgot to tell the Ottawa Rough Riders, and in particular, a young man named Wayne Giardino. On many occasions, he has gone both ways for the Ottawa Rough Riders, may do it again today. Russ, talk to him.
Wayne, with all the injuries that the Ottawa club has sustained this year, you've been placed in many positions. Which one do you actually prefer?
Russ, I prefer the corner linebacker position, and it's true I've been around in a lot of positions this year because of injuries, and I think that's the main reason, because of injuries, but I feel more at home at the corner linebacking position.
The running back spot you played near the end of last year, and they had some ideas of you playing in the offensive backfield. Did it work out, do you think, or do you feel that you're just not suited for that position?
No, I don't think it worked out for a few reasons, Russ, and one is we had a lot of changes this year, as you know, and being yourself, one of them that's gone, and we lost a lot of offensive strength, and it didn't work out for me back there, and in a way I'm glad.
What about the linebacker spot? I think you're probably one of the smaller linebackers. Do you have problems with the guards coming at you? You know, your job is to turn that end sweep in and to contain a great deal. Do you have problems? The guards seem to be getting bigger to me.
The guards are a problem for me. My only asset, I guess, is quickness and being able to read the defense as fast as I can in order to not let them get a full head of steam up and get out in front of me to block me. And other than that, I do fairly well. I am small for the position.
Right. Do you like to blitz a bit? I know the Ottawa club in the latter few ball games has been coming on more.
Well, this is my specialty. I like to blitz probably as much as I can, or I try and influence the coaches to blitz as much as I can, because probably maybe to take advantage of my quickness and offset the offensive strategy and thinking.
Well, Wayne, have a good game. Now over to Tom McKee.
Well, with me, Russ, under these rainy conditions is Bobby Taylor, number 24. And, Bob, you haven't seen too much action. It must have been very frustrating throughout the season for you to sit in the sidelines and have to watch.
Yes, it has been, Tom. It has been a little tough sitting out. I never had to do it before, and I'm just glad to be back in there. They were able to play again.
Well, obviously, you must be feeling well.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Looking forward to winning everything if we can.
How about that? How about the turf today? How about the cutting? Is it pretty rough?
Well, yeah, it is. You've really got to make sure that you plant real well, otherwise your field will be going underneath you.
Okay, Bob. Well, good luck in the game.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Well, Bobby Taylor's back. Jim Thorpe is back for the Argonauts, but Russ Marv Luster may not be around today. He's been ill the past couple of days, and if he doesn't play, it'll make a big difference for the Argo defense.
Well, it appears that he is probably not going to play, Don. He did not come out for the pregame warm-up, and there are two possibilities that we can figure out that Toronto might do. They could move Aldridge back into his position and put Peter Martin back in as the cornerback, or they could leave Aldridge in his corner and put Sternberg back in Lester's spot, or at least in one of the deep defensive halfback spots. So this is something we'll have to watch for as the game progresses.
What about the Ottawa team? Marshall Shirk, who missed the Montreal game, is back with them, but they have other problems. Billy Joe Booth has a bad leg, and so on down the line.
Marshall is back, but Billy Joe has not been feeling well this week. He had an eye infection and also has been having troubles with the groin injury that's bothered him the last half of the season. And young Wayne Smith may play a little for him. And also Collins is hurting, Doug Collins, and he's apparently going to the hospital for an operation on Monday. And Gus Ravensburg, who had a great game last week in Montreal, could play a lot more for Collins in that defensive tackle spot.
So changes all around on both sides, a game that means much to the Argonauts and pride to the Rough Riders. The Ottawa Rough Riders and the Toronto Argonauts are all set, ready for our national anthem and the opening kickoff after this message.
when you pick up your refreshments. Try Labatt's 50. Find out why the growing 50 crowd goes for that special 50 kind of enjoyment.
Piece in this jigsaw puzzle called the final standings in the Eastern Division of the CFL is about to fall into place here this afternoon. This crowd capacity in Toronto getting ready now for the playing of Old Canada. The referee today is Jim King from Montreal. The line umpire is Gibbs Sagan of Ottawa. Downfield umpire is Bill Dell of Oshawa. The head linesman Art Fagey of Hamilton. The field judge is Lauren Woods from the city of Ottawa. The steady drizzle here, which we've encountered the past 3 hours, persists at the C&E Stadium. And the weather office tells us it's liable to remain throughout much of the afternoon. The Argonauts have 3 deep men. They have Tomlin, number 23, back, with Bill Simons, number 33, in the middle, and Dave Ramey, 14, on the right of your screen. They're getting set for Ivan McMillan's kickoff. McMillan, number 73, you see adjusting the ball for the Ottawa Rough Riders. The kickoff, 5-yard line, Bill Simons. Taken down by Barry Ardern, just short of the Toronto 30-yard line. 57 degrees right now by the stadium weather clock. The wind's out of the east at 9 miles an hour. That means the favoring wind is with the Ottawa Rough Riders in this quarter as the Argonauts have decided to receive. And they'll start with number 19, Tom Wilkinson at quarterback. Dave Ramey, 14, set behind him. First down, 28. First pass picked off by Clark. At the 20-yard line, the tackle made by Bill Simons.
An indication of what we might expect here. Clark picking that ball off, but not seen on the replay with the fact that the Ottawa Rough Riders on first down were in a full blitz, and I would anticipate a great deal of this from the Ottawa club today, that they are going to come on strong throughout the entire ball game and gamble a great deal.
That pass was tipped into the hands of Trust, and the Riders now just inside the 20. First down, number 10, Gary Wood at quarterback. Ronnie Stewart has 3 yards at the 17. Jim Corrigal, the middle linebacker, pushing him back after the advance of about 3 yards.
The Toronto Argonauts have had the upper hand on the Ottawa Rough Riders in the 2 games this season. Argos in the first game 37-21, and then the second time they met it was Argos 30 and Ottawa 25. The Rough Riders are out to correct that situation as much as they can right now.
In that last game here, the Argonauts built a huge lead. The Rough Riders just chipped away and came very close to stealing that game in the final quarter. Lee is set with Wellesley behind the quarterback. And the handoff broken up right away on the very late exchange at the 20-yard line. Wellesley up now, pushing with Corrigal as the tempers run high early in this game. The Argonauts' Mike Bloom thought he had recovered the ball, but the officials say the play had been stopped for the loss of 3 yards at the 20. Wait a minute, they have ruled the fumble does go to the Argonauts, and so they've made their own break here and getting it back. Perhaps we can see this happen again on the exchange.
Terry Wellesley going to the line here, and the defensive play of the Argonauts stopped him cold a yard behind the line, and we can watch for the ball squirting out here as he goes down onto the ground. The ball squirts out there.
So the Argonauts take over. First down at the 20-yard line. Bill Simon. He slipped trying to duck under a tackle and reached the 30-yard line, close to a first down. They'll mark with the knees touched further back to Matt. Poirier with Vijak in on the tackle. So it is an 8-yard gain, second down and 2 to go.
Don, an indication of the footing out there. You can see where most of the play has taken place, the footmarks and how the field is tearing apart. And I'm sure by the end of the first half it's going to be in quite a disastrous condition.
Offside indicated. Simons has the first down at the 34-yard line. Now Marcella, number 33, with the tackle for the Rough Riders. The Rough Riders were offside. So the Argonauts are first down at the 33 as they decline the penalty and accept the gain made by Simon. Tight end is Mel Prophet. Number 75, Bland steps wide right. Thorpe on the left side. Back for the first time in 3 games. Ramey at the 37-yard line has 3 to 4 yards. Dave Ramey not considered to be a strong inside runner with his great moves and speed. But in recent games, the Argonauts have been sending him inside and trying to break Bill Simons on the wide running plays. Very important to the Argonaut attack are their guards. Charlie Bray on the right side, 57. Bob Swift at center with Roger Scales, 51, the left guard. Wide open, Mel Prophet. Met by Cross near center field.
Don, the action of that play was set up for a screen pass, and I believe that Wilkie wanted to go to the right on a screen pass to Simons because the offensive line just blocked occasionally. They let the defensive line come through, but both Booth and Shirk rolled out to cover the screen, and he found Prophet downfield for a big gain.
18-yard gain, first down from the Argonaut 54. Bill Simon, 3 yards of the Ottawa 53. Bill Vijak, defensive end, with the stop. So second down and 7 to go. The Rough Riders forcing a break and not being able to advance the ball after a fumble. The Argonauts getting it back at the 20. And now moving it as far as the Ottawa 53-yard line with a second down play coming up. There's no score. We are in the early minutes here in Toronto in a steady drizzle. Intended for Tom Bland at the 45-yard line. Campbell had drifted back to cover him along with Marcelin. So it runs to third down and 7 now. The Argonaut punter, number 16, the veteran Dave Mann. 3 Ottawa receivers back near the 10-yard line awaiting this kick. Cooper, Ardern, and Al Marcelin. Mann hangs it up to Barry Ardern. Walt Balasuk takes him down at the 18-yard line, and there's a timeout on the field with 10:15 to play in this first quarter. The score: Ottawa nothing and Toronto nothing.
Enjoy yourself. Let 50 Sun begin. Enjoy yourself. Break out your 50 grin. Pour yourself a 50. It's like pouring out the sun. And when you taste your 50, you know it's the only one.
Try Labatt's 50, and your trying days are over. All on account of that special 50 Sun thing that only 50 has. So move with the 50 crowd.
Enjoy yourself with 50 starting now. Enjoy yourself. Let 50 show you how. The 50 crowd has a welcome just for you. Outwit yourself, commit yourself, assign yourself, outshine yourself, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. Take 5 for 50 ale.
That was a 37-yard kick by Dave Mann. The run back was 3. Someone to watch for is 34 defensively for the Argonauts, Jerry Sternberg, with the tall order of filling Marv Luster's shoes this afternoon. Wood for Cooper. Double coverage back there. Dick Thornton and Jerry Sternberg at the sideline. So it'll be second down, 10 to go from the Ottawa 19 in this scoreless game. A little over 5 minutes have elapsed in the first quarter. With Luster out, Chip Barrett, number 30, is calling the defensive signals for the Toronto Argonauts, while Sternberg plays in Luster's spot as the rover. Tomlin now goes right with Thornton to cover the Ottawa strength on the left side. Wood's pass bouncing in and out of the hands of Hugh Oldham at the 35-yard line, so it's third down. Still 10 from the Ottawa 19. What a day Oldham had against the Montreal Alouettes in the 28-12 upset last Saturday at the Autostad.
Don, the Toronto Argonauts disguised their man-to-man and zone defense well those two particular plays. On first down, they played man-to-man with Thornton on Cooper and Tomlin on Oldham, and they lined up that same way on second down, but played a zone defense.
Bill Van Berkeley, 15, gets set to punt to Sternberg, 34, and Aldridge, 31. Aldridge had to cover up at the 54-yard line after that ball squirted loose, and we're liable to see a lot of that today under these moist conditions. And Dever, number 30, right there to pin him to the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Only one game after this in the Eastern Conference to round out the 1970 season, and CBC will be providing comprehensive coverage of the playoffs, including the Grey Cup and the Western Final. And we'll start, but we don't know which city to go to next Saturday afternoon for the first game, or for the game in the semifinals for the East.
All we know is it will not be the city of Ottawa. Wilkinson had Profit open, but as he noticed him, he was taken down by Marshall Shirk at the 47-yard line.
Russ, you're pretty knowledgeable about these playoff situations. Have you made any plane reservations or hotel accommodation yet?
Not yet, Tom. I think we have to wait until today and probably until tomorrow to find out. Although if Toronto wins today, then they have second place salted away on this one.
Right. A loss of 7 yards. Second down, 17 now. Toronto 47-yard line. Billy Joe Booth and Shirk on one side, Revenberg and Vijek on the other, defensively the front line for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Mel Profit. Campbell has him at center field. Jerry Campbell, sure first tackle. The gain was 8 to 9 yards, but it'll leave the Argonauts well short by about 8 of their first down objective on third down. Well, Dave Mann, number 16, comes into the backfield for the Argonauts as the Riders send their 3 men. Cooper, Ardern, and Marcelin back near the 10-yard line. There you see them all fanned out. There they are, Dern getting it back near the 25-yard line. So the Rough Riders gained exactly 5 on that exchange of plays. Prophet and Bray downfield, and the 7-minute mark of the first quarter. The score is Ottawa nothing and Toronto nothing.
Enjoy yourself at 52 the pot. Enjoy yourself. You like what 50's got. Look at 5-0 and enjoyment to your days. Enjoy yourself, big 5 for 50.
Little over 7 minutes gone. Still no score. The first quarter. Rough Riders scrimmaging from the 25. First down. Charlie Lee airborne at the 29-yard line for about 4.
You know, one of the unusual things in the Eastern Conference this year, as far as all-star quarterbacks are concerned, is that number 10 for the Ottawa Rough Riders could, even though they're on the bottom of the heap, could very well be named to that position. What do you think, Russ? No?
Well, I'm glad I don't have to vote on that, Tom. It's rather difficult this year because quite a few of the quarterbacks have been out 2 parts of the season, and this is probably going to influence the vote some.
A building year.
Second down. Ron Stewart, retained by Mike Wadsworth, number 59. Virtually no gain. Third down and 7 now as the defensive teams predominate here in the early minutes in Toronto. Now, these two teams can manufacture points. Witness the scores given you by Tom on their first 2 encounters this year. They've been running up to 45, 50 points a game between them. Aldridge back with Sternberg near the Toronto 45 for Bill Van Berkelio's kick. On the bounce to Sternberg at the 50-yard line. So each time these teams exchange the ball on punts, the Rough Riders seem to gain about 5 yards. Argonauts start from the 50. Tom Wilkinson is the starting quarterback, as you saw, and Leo Cahill in the past has gone with whoever is moving the team. He does not hesitate to switch back and forth between Wilkinson and number 13, Don Jonas. This is Bill Simon. Tried to elude Ardern there, who managed to contain him while his teammates came up to fill in the play, and it's a loss of 5 yards. Don Krusp and Revenberg finally getting there to make the tackles. It's a 4-yard loss. They put the ball down to the 46-yard line, so it's 2nd and 14 to come now. 6 minutes and 15 seconds to play in this first quarter, no score. Bland 32 and Thorpe 20 both go right, with Ramey in the slot. Out of bounds is Tom Bland, number 32, and what a block Dave Ramey threw for the Argonauts as that play unraveled, giving Wilkinson a chance to get the ball away, but he threw it too far. So again, a 3rd down situation, and 14 from the 46-yard line.
3rd and 14.
Marsland now goes back to the outside with Ardern in the middle on his punt return team. Cooper on the left side for Dave Mann's kick. That's his best today. Marcelin out to the 23-yard line. Ardern made a fake motion as though he had caught the ball, but nobody was buying that.
Sitting in the broadcast booth with us and enjoying this game this afternoon, the commissioner of the CFL, Jake Gador, and the referee-in-chief, Hab Schuldeis. Did you gentlemen hear them sing the national anthem? I thought they did very well. Ed Sullivan won't call, but they did quite well.
23-yard line. First down for the Rough Riders. Scoreless game. Wood just a step away. Gary Wood, under great pressure, did well to get that ball up. Oldham had a good step or two on Tomlin. The left side of the Argonaut defensive line reacted well the way of pressure. Gary Inskeep forcing that play, and so now it's 2nd down and 10 from the 23 for the Rough Riders. Charlie Lee, 16, is the fullback. Gary Wellesley, 22, Ron Stewart, 11, 77. Pivot moves as the tight end to the right side, and Hugh Oldham with Billy Cooper are fanned wide left. Pivot, a good catch at the 38-yard line. First down.
The Toronto defense setting up in their zone defense with Pivot coming out on isolated here, runs a curl in over the middle. Mike Bloom pushed him into the middle where he wanted to go and then came out to the outside, leaving a big gap in the middle with Oldham and Cooper going deep and taking the defensive backs out of there. Aldridge, the linebacker, who had dropped back into the hook zone, couldn't get over in the middle in time to knock it down.
Gary Wood now is 1 for 4. That's his first completion. The gain was 15 yards. First down, 38-yard line. Oldham. The rule is no catch. Tomlin hit him. The ball came free. Incomplete is the ruling. The Argonaut fans, of course, buzzing. They felt that he might have had it long enough for the catch and the ensuing fumble. So 2nd down from the 38. Whit Tucker now makes his first appearance. Number 26 comes to the right side. Terry Wellesley out to the bench. Oldham. Whit Tucker came back. He was the intended receiver to make the tackle.
Oldham lining up to the left-hand side, coming around taking a little pitch here, similar to a Toronto play they used earlier this year. He laid that ball up there for grabs. Tucker never did have his man beaten, and he wobbled that ball out there like a lame duck, and Sternberg, playing in front of him, just picked it off.
Center field, first down, Toronto. Each team now has had an interception. Fake to Simon. Out to Morrow. Gain of 2 yards at the 53. Barry Ardour, number 20, with the tackle.
On those screen passes, Don, the Ottawa defense is getting inside the offensive blocking before it can set up. The ball is hanging up there a little bit too long on the screen and giving the defensive backs an opportunity to come up and beat that offensive blocker.
Wilkinson has hit on 3 of 6 passes, 28 yards total so far. Al Prophet at the 35-yard line, met by John Krust, number 25. There's a timeout on the field with 3 minutes to play, and the first quarter of the score is Ottawa nothing and Toronto nothing.
When you're smiling, it's all about you. The beer that smiles with you. It's the true one, brewed for you one. The great one that's true blue. The movie's going, right over the blue. Canada's going for the taste that is true. So keep smiling and sail about blue. The true blue friendly beer.
Climb aboard and see for yourself why Labatt's Blue is making more and more new friends every day.
So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue. The true blue friendly beer. Labatt's Blue.
Mel Prophet's catch sets the Argonauts up at the 36. He's got 3 today for 44 yards. And a moment ago, Billy Joe Booth limped out to the sideline for the Ottawa Rough Riders. And of course, he means much to their defense. Young Wayne Smith is in to replace him as the Argonauts go first down. Number 20 had the ball in his hands and couldn't hold it against Poirier and crossed at the 5-yard line.
Ottawa in a man-to-man defense here, and Thorpe got in behind Joe Poirier, and Joe putting his hand up, I think, just broke the concentration, and Thorpe couldn't find the handle to the ball.
Now Morrow, number 11, you see going out, and Markle, 76, in with the play from Leo Cahill for Tom Wilkinson. Second down, still 10 from the 36-yard line. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play in this first quarter. Scoreless game. Again for Thorpe. This time he couldn't get free from Poirier. The ball badly overthrown, so it is 3rd down and 10 now, the 36-yard line. There's a marker down. The indication would be offside. Toronto has been declined by Ottawa, so it goes to 3rd and 10, still at the 36-yard line.
There's quite a story there, too, in the CFL. Number 29, the official Jim King, badly burned earlier this year in a boating accident, and only his superior physical condition enabled him to get back to the point that he is now.
Dave Mann getting ready to kick from the area of the 50-yard line. And it's a good one. Barry Ardern lets it bounce, tries to draw the Argonauts into a no-yards penalty, and does not succeed. It's a single point on the board for the Toronto Argonauts. Ardern rouged in the end zone. The Argonauts score first. 1-0 for Toronto. Billy Joe Booth, we're told, does not have a serious injury. It's just the same ailment that's been plaguing him throughout the latter half of the season, and they expect him back later in the day.
Of course, this could be the last regular game that Billy Joe Booth ever plays in the CFL. He's threatening to retire. I think he did that last year, too, though.
Charlie Lee. The 45-yard line, a gain of 20 yards as he flared out of the backfield to catch the Gary Wood pass. Corrigal and Ron Arends made the tackles.
Don, Gary Wood throwing the ball well this afternoon. He isn't known to like this type of weather. He's talked to me about the Canadian ball, and he'd like to see them change to the Duke ball that they use in the American game. He has trouble on days when the ball is just a little slippery, as it would be today.
First down, 46-yard line. Big charge against Wood. He unloaded the screen. Stewart was there, but the ball didn't arrive in time. So it is 2nd and 10. Dick Aldridge, number 31, was providing the rush against Gary Wood. Minute flag is up now. 55 seconds remaining in the first quarter, with the Argonauts leading the Rough Riders 1-0. And I'm sure we have most members of the Montreal Alouettes in our television audience this afternoon up in Montreal, watching the outcome of this one very closely. Sternberg made a good move against Hugh Oldham to break the play up.
Here we have Tomlin trying to hit Oldham as he came out here, and Sternberg in a free safety spot came across in the zone defense and helped out as Thornton was taken deep by Billy Cooper.
Like you were saying earlier, Russ, that ball had quite a wobble on it, too. Couldn't control it at all.
Van Berkeley, number 15, getting set to kick now. 3rd and 10 from the 46. Sternberg and Aldridge back near the Argonaut 30-yard line. This is Jerry Sternberg. Heads collide at the 29-yard line. Number 60 trotting out there for one of the last times in a lengthy career. Danny Nicolak, he, of course, is to be honored here at halftime. This is Danny Nicolak Day as they honor the retiring offensive tackle of the Argonauts, who spent so many great seasons, and unfortunately losing seasons, in Toronto colors. Tony Moore. Gain of 15, 16 yards at the 45. 2nd and 10 for the Argonauts. 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 2nd and 10 for the Argonauts Barry Ardern, number 20, a very muddy 20, made the stop.
Ottawa changing up there in a zone defense, and they went on with a blitz from the zone.
At the end of the first quarter, the score is Toronto 1 and Ottawa nothing. We'll return to CFL action after this message.
When you're smiling, sailor, that's blue. The beer that smiles with you. It's the true one. Root for you one. The great one that's true blue. Next time you order, just say Labatt's Blue, 'cause it's the great beer with the taste that is true. So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue, the true blue friendly beer. So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue, the true blue friendly beer. Blue, 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 Labatt's Blue.
Don Chevrier with Russ Jackson, Tom McKee, C&E Stadium in Toronto. We begin the second quarter. The Argonauts lead the Rough Riders 1-0 on a Dave Mann punt that Barry Ardern conceded for a single point late in the first quarter. Line of scrimmage is the Toronto 46-yard line. And Tom Wilkinson, 19, gets set to bring the Argonauts out to the first down play. Total offense in the first quarter minimal because the defenses were the predominant forces. 69 yards Toronto and 36 yards for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Tom Bland wide left, Jim Thorpe number 20 on the right side. Ramey and Simon set behind Wilkinson. Fake to Simon. Mel Prophet. 42-yard line. And he's been the favorite target today for the long gainers by Wilkinson.
Zone defense with the Ottawa Rough Riders, and Mel Prophet, as we see here, comes off the line, and he runs a little post pattern into the middle, and Jerry Campbell loses him here and isn't quite sure where he is, and Wilkie finds Prophet for a big gain.
Prophet may not run far when he catches the ball, but he certainly makes sure of them, and more important, works himself into the open time and time again.
And he can also fall an additional 2 yards, Don.
Or more. 42-yard line now. First down for Toronto. Markle, wide left. Poirier lost the ball. He had the interception, had to turn around in time, but couldn't. Markle was the intended receiver.
Don, I think Joe Poirier was surprised that ball got to him because it went right through Markle's hands, and he had Joe beaten on a man-to-man defense on a little bend-in pattern, and the ball went right through Markle's hands into Poirier's and bounced off his chest.
Second and 10 from the 42 of Ottawa. Morrow back in now, and Markle out to the bench. Morrow on the left side. Simons in the slot left. Ramey the only setback behind Wilkinson. Thorpe right with Bland. Simons cut down at the 40-yard line. The gain is only 2. Marcelin, though, is not up. 31, Al Marcelin on the collision with Bill Simons. You see him there.
We've seen this happen so many times this year with one of the defensive backs coming up and taking on one of these strong offensive halfbacks, and we'll watch again here, and I feel that Simons caught Marcelin with a knee here on the side of the head. Right there we see the knee on the side of the head.
Simons a powerful runner with those legs churning all the time.
That was very similar to the injury Larry Fairholm suffered a couple of weeks ago in Montreal when he hit Jim Young, or Jim Young hit him.
Marcelin, you see, very slowly now, getting to one knee. And up. He's been an outstanding find for the Rough Riders in 1970. Abundance of speed, reliable defensive back, kickoff return man, punt return man. But they will not have him for the next few plays at least here in Toronto. A collision with Bill Simons. The gain of about a yard in that last play, so it's 3rd down and 9. The line of scrimmage is the 41-yard line.
Little landscaping going on here with the officials. There's a lot of water right under the top surface of the grass. As soon as they break through the grass, there's quite a bit of water underneath.
Cooper and Ardern, the only 2 men back now for the punt now that Marcelin has been taken to the Ottawa bench. Another fine kick by Dave Mann, 15 yards deep in the end zone, and Barry Ardern's going to make it a 2-0 game.
Lost that one out there like a forward pass.
He got his foot into that. That's the first punt that Dave Mann has had with this breeze at his back, and these points are going to mount up, and they could make a big difference to the outcome of this ball game.
That one traveled 56 yards. The favoring wind at the outset of the game was about 9 miles an hour out of the east, and the Argonauts enjoy that benefit here in this quarter. First down, Rough Riders from the 25 as Gary Wood has the play. Charlie Lee. Caught by Jim Tomlin, number 23. Virtually no gain at the 26.
Don, the Toronto Argonauts are making it very difficult for Gary Wood to read the defenses. Thornton and Tomlin are lining up on number 27 Oldham and number 23 Cooper on all defenses, no matter where they go. And from there, they are either playing their man-to-man or their zone defense. So to get a key as to who is covering which man is very difficult when they're going to do this here.
Report from the Ottawa bench is that Al Marcelin can be expected back. He's a little fuzzy right now after that collision, but apparently all right. Mike Bloom chasing Gary Wood. And Oldham could not contain the ball at the 35-yard line.
I'm not sure whether this was a mix-up on the Ottawa offense, because Whit Tucker had lined up to the right and came to the left, and then they tried to set up the blocking, and Mike Bloom was let go free here, and Gary Wood did an outstanding job of getting free of Harrington and Bloom to get this ball to Oldham, and they had a first down had he been able to hang on to it.
Third down from the 26-yard line. Bad snap, and Berkeley back to the end zone, picks it out. And that will be a 2-point safety touch. 2 points, Bloom checking to make sure they rule it that way, and that's the indication, the official bringing his hands together over his head.
Quite a gamble, Don, in kicking that ball, because if he had missed it, the Toronto Argonauts could have fallen on it for a touchdown.
Shades of Harvey Wiley and the Calgary Stampeders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers in that Western final years ago. They're having a meeting. Let's take another look at it.
The ball going over Billy Van Berkelio's head, not having much opportunity to field it, and was in the end zone before Billy kicked it.
The man they can blame for that is Doug Speck.
It's in the end zone now, and he kicks it out.
So they award the 2 points. 4-0 is the score. And the Rough Riders will start from the 25-yard line. Meantime, some of the Argonauts asking for further clarification from the officials. Pete Martin, 77, Aldridge, 31. 11 minutes and 45 seconds remain until halftime, and we'll be showing you the ceremonies here honoring Danny Nicolak, the retiring Argo lineman, at halftime. The pass for Ronnie Stewart a bit too far. Gene Wren came in for the first time in the Rough Rider backfield in that last play. So second down and still 10 from the 25 as the Riders seem locked in that spot, unable to move away. They had 2 previous plays before the high third down snap by Doug Speck and the safety touch from the 25.
And those points start to add up, Don. 1 here, 1 there. It's up to 4 now. That's better than a field goal advantage.
Well, a field goal makes it a 1 converted touchdown lead. Oldham on the left side. Dave Pivick at the 52-yard line. That's one of the Riders' best gains today. And again, like Profit, the Argos tight end, the Riders go to theirs. Pivot.
Peter Martin came in late to replace Jim Corrigal, and he never did appear to get set in the position he wanted to be.
There's a timeout on the field with 11 minutes to play in the second quarter of the score. Toronto 4 and Ottawa nothing.
This is the Lambert family. They don't know much about CP Rail, but we've had a lot to do with them anyway. For instance, we brought Mrs. Lambert's ham from Saskatchewan, her dress from Montreal, George's pipe from Quebec City. We know their car, too. We delivered it from the plant. Their boat came from Vancouver, the cooler from Kitchener, Diane's doll from Toronto. The barbecue's from Winnipeg, the trailer from Alberta. We used the new flat cars for that. We brought the apples from BC in a refrigerator car. From the Maritimes, we brought...
Funny how involved you get with people when you run a railway. And you know, it keeps changing the way we look, because we keep building different kinds of freight cars to help us get different kinds of goods to you. CP Rail, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Dave Pivek's second catch of the afternoon, measuring 26 yards, gives him 41 yards now in 2 receptions today as the Rough Riders go first down from their own 51. Oldham is on the left side with Billy Cooper. Out to Pivek. He couldn't beat the first man. Had he beaten Chip Barrett, number 30, who made a sure tackle, the sideline was open to him. The 2-yard gain makes it second down and 8 from the 53. Just over 10 minutes until the half now. 4-0 is the score. Toronto on the top end. The Riders got a big break early in the first quarter when they picked off a pass by Crust out of the 20, but failed to capitalize. In fact, lost the ball themselves 2 plays later on a fumble. That's the closest they've been. Tucker now is into the game again, the left side. Wren, 32 on the right side. Taken down by Ed Harrington. A loss is 13 yards back at the 40. Well, it produces a 3rd and 20 situation for the Rough Riders, who again run out of gas. As Aldridge goes back with Sternberg near the 35-yard line to await the kick from Van Berkelio, who, of course, is very attentive towards the snap here, bearing in mind the last one that came out, resulting in a safety touch. This one's right on the mark. Aldridge, back at the 37-yard line, was pulled down by Danny Devers.
Bobby Taylor coming into the game, Don.
And that is what the cheering is all about. Number 24, back for the first time in more than 6 weeks after a knee injury. Al Marcelin's spot on defense taken by Frank Allen now, 14 to the Rough Riders. For Simon. Oh, good. Had the ball for a moment against Ardern and couldn't keep possession.
Wilkinson got good protection here, and he got that ball out there, but he didn't quite throw it far enough, and it was a battle between Ardern and Simons all the way, with Simons getting an opportunity to make a great catch. Ardern just knocking it away at the last minute.
Second down, still 10, 37-yard line. Score 4-0, just under 9 minutes of time remaining in the first half. So 2 replacements in this game already defensively for the Rough Riders. Wayne Smith and now Marcelin is back into the game for the first time since he was shaken up. Profit. Broke a tackle for another 10 yards. Finally stopped by Marcelin and Van Berkelio. After Barry Ardern couldn't hold him.
That was another example of Profit being able to fall the additional 3 yards, too.
Ball is at the 51 of Ottawa for the first down play. Bobby Taylor, 21, the bottom of your screen, the right side. Jim Thorpe, 20 at the top. Dave Ramey. Reaches the 48 for about 3. Charlie Bray, 57, with a good lead block. But there were other people in the Ottawa defensive lineup in behind Bray there to make the tackle. Gus Revenberg was the principal defender. To make it second down and 6 now. They have the ball at the 47-yard line of the Rough Riders. And the conditions here have improved tremendously since the start of this game. Ceiling is lifted, and the drizzle is just about leveled off. Ramey surrounded quickly, no gain near the original line of scrimmage. Gary Campbell, 54, shut him off as Wilkinson had to bail out the escape pass.
Campbell going back in a straight zone defense with Wilkinson setting up a middle screen, and then he finds his footing and comes back and helps with the tackle.
Third down, Dave Mann again, putting his boot to work here on behalf of the Argonauts. And it's a dandy. Into the end zone again. And Ardern will kneel once more. And concede yet another single point. 52 yards, the length of that kick. Score now 5-0. At the 8-minute mark of the second quarter, the score is Toronto 5 and Ottawa nothing.
This quarter of Canadian professional football is being brought to you by
Canadian Pacific. Serving you in so many ways.
Dave Mann has been averaging 46 yards in this game. And he's been responsible for the majority of the Argonaut points. 6 of them here, or 5 of them. A 5-0 lead. Gene Wren. He'll lose a yard on the grass of number 54 of the Toronto Argonauts, Ed Harrington.
Wren and Lee, those relative newcomers to the Ottawa backfield, have certainly not enjoyed Canadian weather. I think they've only played on one dry field in all the games they've had so far. Of course, Ottawa's had a rough year. They've had rain in 12 of their 14 games.
Jack Gatto was saying before the game that he plans to work as a rainmaker somewhere where they have trouble moistening the crops in the off-season. Seems to follow him wherever he goes.
Good name for a movie, Jake Goda and the Rainmakers.
The interception by Barrett. Home free. Chip Barrett took off like a rocket.
The Toronto defense expecting a screen. The linebackers more or less stayed up here, and Chip Barrett was left alone back there, and it appeared that Gary Wood had an opportunity to hit the receiver, but he laid back behind the receiver, stepped in front of him, and had a free go to the end zone.
That makes it 11-0 Argonauts, with Don Jonas now in to attempt the extra point. Number 25, Dick Thornton's going to hold the ball for him. Indicator, a further indicator of how defensive play has been very big here today. The first touchdown, the result of a fine defensive move by Barrett. Jonas makes it a 12-0 football game. So it's 12-0. Barrett to return that ball about 33 yards. And we have 5 minutes and 44 seconds until halftime. Tomorrow, the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the final Eastern scheduled game at the Autostade in Montreal. And with the result today in about an hour and a half, the teams will at least know, in more precise terms, what they're shooting for. They could be aiming for not first or second, but first or third place. Mann, 16, getting the ball squared away for the kickoff. And it is flat. Hugh Oldham into a puddle of water across the 40-yard line. Dave Mann, one of his rare defensive gestures, downfield with the tackle. So they place it at the 41. The lights here, of course, have been on since before the start of this game.
The playoff schedule in the CFL on CBC, of course, next Saturday afternoon. Then on November 14th and 18th from the West, if necessary, also on the 22nd of November, and of course the Grey Cup 4 weeks from today from this football field.
Again, Hugh Oldham unable to make the reception. Good collision there with Jerry Sternberg, pried the ball loose.
Oldham isn't getting much freedom this afternoon. Tomlin playing over top of him, runs him off his pattern here, trying to hold him up, and then Tomlin getting great help from Sternberg, who was on the spot playing that free rover position or free safety position.
He's doing an admirable job in place of Marv Luster. Second down and still 10 from the 41 for the Rough Riders, who trailed 12-0. Cooper and Oldham are set to the left side. They go right to Whit Tucker. And Tucker may have the first down at the 53-yard line. In fact, he does. The gain is 12, and the Argonaut Rough Riders move the sticks. Defensively for Toronto, they have Gary Inskeep, a late cut from New York at the National Football League, at one defensive end. Ed Harrington, 54 at the other, and Mike Wadsworth, 59, and Walt Balasek, 64, the defensive tackle. Jim Corrigal plays the middle, 79. Aldrich, 31, and Mike Bloom, 70, are the other linebackers. For Oldham, good coverage there by Thornton and by Jim Tomlin, as they all go for a trot around the track. Second down and 10 from the 53-yard line. And the Riders have really encountered difficulty in moving beyond midfield, save that first thrust on the interception by Crust at the 20. In fact, this is their best advance since that very early stage of this game. And Pete Martin in for Jim Corrigal on that last play, made the tackle on Dave Pivick, but not before Pivick had collected a first down inside the 45-yard line of Toronto.
Don, that appeared to be almost the same play that Chip Barrett intercepted on last time. The linebackers came back to help, but Pivick coming over the middle there managed to find an opening, and Gary Wood hit him perfectly.
Ran wide right, and Cooper on the left side with Hugh Oldham now for the Rough Riders. First down, 44-yard line. And the blitz by Corrigal, and Gary Wood's down for a loss at center field. Corrigal with a clear pass at the Ottawa quarterback. Boy,
Boy, he came out of there. That coracle can really move. He came out of there like it's already tonight. Somebody's chasing.
11 yards was the deficit on the play, so they go second and 21 from midfield. Oldham left with Cooper. For Wet Tucker. He can hang on. The juggling act against Ron Arends and Dick Aldridge inside the 15-yard line.
Toronto in his own defense.
Timeout on the field, Ross, with 2:37 to play in the second quarter. The score is Toronto 12 and Ottawa nothing.
When we say that you get good service at a CP hotel, we mean good service. And you get our good service wherever you go, whether you stay at the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City, the Palliser in Calgary, the Saskatchewan in Regina, the Empress in Victoria, or at any of the other fine CP hotels across the country. CP Hotels, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Third and 21 from midfield. And Berkeley O getting set to punt. Sternberg and Aldridge back at the 20-yard line. Hangs it up to Aldridge. And he's taken down at the 19. In fact, if they want to go after Aldridge, once he turns his back there, they can grab him by that towel he has draped around himself. Wayne Smith made the tackle. The 19-yard line starts the Argonauts out first down. About 2:20 to play in the half.
Boy, that field is certainly being chewed up, Don, tremendously. They're lifting that turf right off, down about 3 or 4 inches in some cases.
Reminds me when I follow you around the golf course.
It's the safest place to be. Follow me.
Bill Simons, Marcelin, as they dig up some more of the C&E turf. The loss is 6 yards back at the 13. So second down and 16 to go.
Well, I'll tell you, you look down on a field like this, and it does seriously get you thinking about that artificial turf. Very expensive, but it certainly has some merit.
They had the tarp down here until about an hour before the game, but of course in rolling it up, the water just oozed off onto the surface. And more rain, and here we are. Wilkinson will give up 2 points.
Markle trying to go down the sideline here. He throws a block and then tries to break downfield to find himself open, but he was well covered by Poirier, who was back in his zone. And Wilkinson seemed to lose track of where he was, back by the goal line about this time, and was caught for a big safety touch.
Young Wayne Smith made the tackle and resulted in the score. And now, of course, this happens in the final 3 minutes, and the Argonauts must give up the ball on a kickoff. That rule is there to discourage teams who are behind, say, before halftime at the end of the game, in the final 3 minutes, from repeatedly giving up 2 points and getting the ball back at the 25. And so they must kick off now from the 25-yard line. Dave Mann has it again at the 25, lying in a rather flat position. But first, Dave's got to attend to his boots. Yankees undergoing a change of footwear right there.
Don, I've been in that position that Wilkinson was in there a couple of times during my career, and you feel rather frustrated after that because with only about a minute and 45 seconds to go in the ball game, you could punt it out to about the 45 or 50-yard line and make the other team work for the points. But when you give 2 points away just because you lose your sense of direction and exactly where you are in the field, it is rather frustrating for the quarterback.
Now, Mann puts the ball in the upright position in the tee to get some distance here, as field position will be important to the Rough Riders in the final minute and 42 seconds here. 12-2 is the score. You Oldham. He just couldn't get away. The ball came free around the 50-yard line, but I think the whistle had gone. And they indicate the ball remains in the possession of the Ottawa Rough Riders at the 50 of Toronto. And again, it was Dave Mann supplying the Argonaut tackle. A minute and 34 left now until halftime. Reminder again about the ceremonies honoring Danny Nicolak. We'll be covering them for you from the C&E Stadium. Now some added yardage being tacked on. Down to the 36-yard line. This is the game's first penalty. It is for rough play against the Toronto Argonauts. And so the Rough Riders have an excellent chance to go in here and narrow this lead before time expires in the second quarter. Ed Harrington pleading the case on behalf of the Argonauts to no avail. There's a look at Gary Wood, the offensive unit of the Ottawa club. Gene Wren sets wide right. Oldham 27, Cooper 23 on the left side. And a rule they took too long. The whistle sounded. The gain is only a yard. Ron Stewart was carrying.
Nobody wants to pick the ball up, Don.
They sure would before the whistle sounded, but no one's inclined to do so afterward. It is going to be second down. At the 36-yard line is the Rough Riders charged with the delay of game. With Tucker now on the right side back into the offensive lineup of the Rough Riders. A quick throw broken up by Chip Barrett against Dave Pivick at the 25-yard line. Pivick's been around this league, brief flings with the Argonauts and Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the past. A minute and 16 remain now, and it's third down from the 36 and still 10 to go. A field goal would leave them 7 points apart, but the Rough Riders are going. For Tucker, no good. And so Ottawa will lose the ball on down. The Argonauts taking over at the 36-yard line with 1:13 to play in the second quarter. Bobby Taylor is still in the Argonaut offensive lineup now. He did not start the game, came in early in the second quarter to a rousing ovation. Jim Thorpe, number 20, also in there, standing alongside of Taylor in the Argonaut huddle. And this is the way they started the season and planned to go in 1970 until a wave of injuries came along to change plans. Dave Ramey bends for maybe a yard at the 37, met by Gus Revenberg, number 52. Second down and 8.5, 9 yards to go. The ball between the 36 and the 37. Marcelin back in with Van Berkeley, Cross, Poirier, and Ardern as the deep backs. The corner is Dan Dever on the right side and Wayne Giardino on the left. And Jerry Campbell, 54, plays the middle. Bobby Taylor's first catch. At the 49-yard line, it's a first down.
The Ottawa defense in a prevent-type zone defense, and Bobby Taylor running one of his favorite patterns, a little square out about 8 or 10 yards downfield, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
Now Taylor moves left with Jim Thorpe. Dave Ramey in the slot right. Taylor again. Can't bring this one down. Incomplete. Clock shows 42 seconds. Taylor stops to dry his hands from the official's towel. Mel Prophet. Big day for the towel concession here. 2nd and 10, 49-yard line of Toronto. 12-2, Argos lead. Taylor, Morrow, Thorpe all go left, leaving Simons in behind Wilkinson. For Dave Ramey, broken up by Van Berkeley. Now 35 seconds remain. 3rd down and 10. Ardern, Cooper, and Marcelin all going back, and then Marcelin comes back up into a normal spot, taking the other two for the Dave Mann punt. Off the side of his foot, and Cooper just runs it out, stopping the clock at the 18-yard line. 30 seconds remain now. And there's the minute flag. Halftime fast approaching here at the CNA. You Oldham. Had trouble getting to Oldham. Several great chances, but he has failed to make the majority of catches until now at the 27-yard line, where he is close to a first down. Dick Aldridge and Jim Corrigal made the tackles. 25 seconds remain. Just short by one of the first down.
All that action took exactly 5 seconds, Don.
Intercepted by Aldridge. 9 seconds left on the clock. Bumped out at the 17.
Again, I think a misread defense here with Aldridge dropping back and playing the ball perfectly. We don't see him here, but he's laying off, and he steps in front of the intended receiver and makes a great catch here. And being very alert and running down the sideline, he heads out of bounds, realizing that he cannot go too much further, rather than take another 4 or 5 yards if he went inside.
They're going to go with the field goal attempt right away. Don Jonas, number 13. Thornton, 25, kneeling to hold at the 24-yard line, the angle right. And he has it. And that took all of 3 seconds. We have 6 remaining here in the first half. 15-2 now, a lead of 13 points for the Toronto Argonauts over the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Two interceptions, Don, have certainly plagued the Ottawa offense here, and again has put a lot of pressure on the Ottawa defense in giving field position, although on the 2 interceptions, one returned for the touchdown, and this one, the immediate play after the interception, going for the 3 points.
This should be the final play of the second quarter. Wood going back into the middle for Billy Cooper, incomplete. And that takes care of the opening 30 minutes here at the C&E. The score is Toronto 15 and Ottawa 2. And we'll bring you our halftime show after this message.
Clickety-click, clickety-click. Romantic? Not to us. At CP Rail, that clickety-click is something we want to smooth out. That's why we're constantly checking those big steel wheels. We want them smooth. And it's why we make sure that every one of the 3,000 horses in this diesel engine is pulling its share of the load smoothly. And it's why we're installing rails that are almost a quarter of a mile long. That way, there are fewer joints to go clickety-click. The result is a smoother ride for you and your freight. At CP Rail, we're after constant improvement in our equipment, methods, and service. Improvement from the rail up. CP Rail, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
A special day or occasion is the way that sports people have of recognizing and paying tribute to a man who has dedicated himself to his favorite sport and his team, whatever that may be. And there is no better example of a player like that than the player they are honoring here at the C&E Stadium today, Danny Nicoluk of the Toronto Argonauts. And it's been a long career for big number 60. This is his 180th consecutive game in uniform, and he has played in all 217 games in the CFL, including playoffs. He joined Argos in 1955 from Balmy Beach, and strange as it may seem, he missed the next season, not because of a football injury or because of the fact that he couldn't make the club, but because of a hockey injury. And that occurred when Danny was playing in a charity hockey game in the off-season and hurt his elbow. Danny Nicoluk is a sportsman, a true sportsman, and all that one should be. He hunts, he has dogs for that purpose, he golfs, he works out, and he stays in shape even in the off-season. And in general, keeps himself tremendously busy. He even builds his own homes and now is living in house number 3. Nicoluk has enjoyed playing these 16 years with the Toronto Argonauts. However, many of those years have been mighty lean for team victories. Now, of course, in this his retirement year, he would like to cap it all off with the Grey Cup because he is a member of a potential Grey Cup winner in this season. Danny Nicoluk was an Eastern All-Star in the Eastern Conference in 1967 and 1969, and he is big and he is strong, 6'3", 250 pounds. And he's seen a lot of football faces here with the Argonauts come and go over the years. People like Tobin Rote, Ronnie Knox, Billy Shipp, Menon Schriever, Peter Liss, Carl Sweetan, Jackie Parker, and of course Cookie Gilchrist. And also coaches like Bill Swiacki, Steve Owen, Lou Agassi, Nabi Werkowski, and Bob Shaw, and of course Leo Cahill. Danny Nicoluk has outlived them all, with the exception, of course, of the present coach, Leo Cahill. On the field, special ceremonies are underway, and I'll switch you over now to Don Chevrier to describe them for you. Don?
Well, this is Danny Nicoluk's day, as you've said, Tom, and a man who had a similar day here at the C&E not too many years ago. Great halfback Dick Shatto is in charge of the Danny Nicoluk Day ceremonies here this afternoon. And you can see in the background of the party there on the platform just some of the many awards that are going to Danny. Here's Dick.
It was 5 years ago this month that this same experience happened to me. And I certainly although Danny Nicoluk has mentioned many times that when he leaves the game this year, you won't see him again. But your enthusiasm, the enthusiasm of the press, radio, and TV, will linger with him all his life. And we, his friends, are here today to pay tribute to the 16 years of dedication, desire, effort, and determination that Danny has shown you. I would first of all like to introduce you to a couple of people. First of all, it started many years ago, and I'd like to bring out now Danny's mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. Nicolak. A player's wife goes through just as much misery as the ball player. To put up with the unpredictable moods of an athlete takes a certain kind of woman. And Lil Nicolak has been that woman. I'd like to bring her out now. Now for the fellow that's given you so many years of enjoyment and who the game is dearly going to miss, number 60, Danny Nicolak. I would first of all like to call on the chairman of the Argonaut Football Club and a true sportsman, Mr. John Bassett.
Ladies and gentlemen, that reminds me of the great cheer I got 5 years ago at the same time, same kind of an occasion. I'm very happy today, on behalf of the Argonaut directors and the fans in this community, to give Danny Nicolak a symbolic sweater. Number 60 is Danny Nicolak's number. It will never again be worn by an Argonaut. I only have one final hope and wish for this great athlete who is captain of this team, and that is that the last game he plays and the last time that number 60 is seen on an Argonaut sweater, it'll be when Danny, as our captain, goes up to get the Grey Cup.
I would now like to call Ron Barbaro, the president of the Argo Playgat Club, for a presentation.
On behalf of Canada's most successful fan club, the Toronto Playback Club, we are giving Danny a beautiful watch. Plus, as you people know, we make many, many trips out of town following the Argos, and we always stay at the Skyline Hotel, and they have graciously donated, along with Air Canada, 1 week's vacation in Kingston, Jamaica for the Nicolaks. Danny?
Now, the players are on the sideline to help pay tribute, and I'd like to call one of the co-captains, Pete Markin, to make a presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege at this time to present to Danny, on behalf of the players, the coaching staff, the equipment manager, the ball boys, and Stan, our trainer, the beautiful yellow Skidoo. All I can say at this time is that Danny will be missed by his teammates, both on and off the field. Thank you.
Danny, you have many other friends that wanted to pay tribute to you. And on the trailer behind you are a number of things that people have sent in, and I'd like to read them off to you. You have a set of 5 Dual S90 tires from General Tire. You have a 101 field rifle from Jim, Nick, and Dick. You also have, you're looking for furniture. Toronto Bedding have a queen-size bed for you. Your friends in Oshawa send along a cash donation so that you and Lil can go out and buy some furniture. Canadian Golf Craft have donated a set of golf clubs for your
So this
summer
is Danny
enjoyment.
Nicolak today, not his final day, certainly, in the colors of the Toronto Argonauts, because the Argonauts are hopeful they'll have many more games, including the semifinal, of course, next week. They're not sure where it's going to be, but they can be assured that Danny will be there. And he's a very unusual kind of individual, one who rarely, if ever, watches a football game on television. He says that when he does retire, he will not be back to the CNE, even as a spectator. He said for him, football is a game that he enjoys to play, but really can't bear to watch. And so Danny, the most unusual kind of guy, being given the highest tribute here today on the part of the Argonaut football fans and his teammates. He's been through 16 tough seasons. Tom McKee mentioned some of the coaches he's worked under, many of the personalities and players that he has worked with on the offensive line, but never has he been on a winning team, a Grey Cup team, because the Argonauts simply, since 1952, haven't been there. And so, as was the case with Russ Jackson last year, the storybook finish, going to a Grey Cup game, many of these fans here in Toronto are certainly hoping that the same fortune befalls Danny Nicolak here in 1970 with the Argonaut football team.
But not on the wagon are the thousands of good wishes and cheers that the fans...
Nicolak has had his share of injuries over the years. In fact, at the start of this season, he almost didn't make it. He had a back injury that Leo Cahill thought might keep him out for the entire season, and for him, his career. But he recovered very quickly, got back for the first league game, and hasn't looked back since.
Number 16, Danny will be able to look back and remember it forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has to be the greatest day of my life, and I have a lot of people to thank. Number one is my wife. It's pretty hard to live with a guy during the football season. I want to thank my mother and father, management, the directors of the Toronto Argonaut Football Club, coaches, the ball players, the equipment boys of the Toronto Argonauts. I have to thank a guy who's a personal friend, and I think without his work, this day wouldn't be possible. That's Dick Shadow. I would also like to thank all the people who donated the gifts, all the guys that helped Dick, Ron Barbero, Joe Robert, Herb Kearney, and if I forgot anybody else, I'm sorry. But I think that the people I have to thank the most are you, the fans. You've been loyal to the Toronto Argonaut Football Club for all the 16 years I've been here, and I think that the only way that I can repay you or the rest of the ball players can repay you bringing the Grey Cup to Toronto this year. Thank you.